So I did a little thing. I posted a poll about a month ago and got some results, and the results are in. And let's talk about them. Okay, folks. Well, a couple weeks ago, I dropped this January poll on my YouTube channel and wanted to get my finger on the pulse of what you guys want to see me make more videos for. So we got 161 responses. Let's take a look at some of them. All right, right off the bat, I see you guys want to see more advanced VBA stuff, right? That's most of you. And the more database builds, like the association database, that surprises me. We don't get a lot of views on the association database videos, so I was actually not going to do more. But according to the poll results, most of you like them, so maybe I'll do another one, see what happens. I tend to go to what gets more views, of course. It's a YouTube channel, right? But yeah, we'll try another one. I see a lot of you also like database design theory. That's a surprisingly high number too. Beginners, not so many, but you know, the beginners, that's where I find 90% of my beginner students is people that find my YouTube videos. They Google search something, how to do something in Access, and fortunately, one of my beginner videos shows up. So I'm not going to stop doing the beginner lessons. I have to keep making those because that's how I get new students and new members. But I definitely see most of you guys want to see the advanced stuff. All right, Excel, not surprising, decent number. Word, PowerPoint, Windows, again, yeah. I'm probably going to just redo my beginner videos for these and see where that goes. I'm probably not going to spend a ton of time redoing the intermediate Excel stuff because honestly, most of that stuff hasn't changed. Yeah, sure, with Excel, specifically Excel, they've added a lot of new functions and a lot of new features, but the core functions that were in there before really haven't changed. I mean, there's some new stuff like XLOOKUP instead of using VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP, but yeah. Most of the old material I've got is still perfectly valid, especially for beginners. SQL Server for sure. I'm going to be doing more on that. ASP and JavaScript. What I want to do is I want to do a web design class based on my web design experience, what I like. Now, a lot of people criticize my website, say that it looks very 90s. Yeah, okay, it's got a very retro look. I like to stay functional. I don't care too much about being pretty. Right, I got the what's new videos in the middle here, new releases over there, quick list of courses over here, what's going on over there. You click on something like the split function and it takes you to that page. And my goal is to get you here to watch videos and teach you stuff. All right, I'm not trying to be an Instagram where everything's all pretty and stuff. So I personally think that this this website is perfectly functional for what I'm trying to do. And I know a lot of you want to build databases, websites. I say databases so much because I'm constantly making database videos. But a simple website like this using HTML, JavaScript, CSS, and of course ASP and SQL Server in the back end, and it's extremely functional. It's nice and fast most of the time, and it does what I need it to do. And I've been using this site for 20 years with upgrades here and there, of course. But I'm going to put together a web design course using the tools and technology that I know. And so if you want to learn pretty, the new stuff that's out there, well, I'm not your guy. I don't make pretty stuff. I make functional stuff. Now, this down here is exactly why I usually don't put polls together where you can add your own stuff. Because I get stuff like this for Adam Tempfires. Come on, Adam. Seriously? Come on. At least you're not alone. Someone else wants Tempfires. This is a good list, but I see most of you didn't bother to check and look down the list to see what else was on there before adding your own. So, what do we got? Let's see what we got in here. This is a good one. Customize the look of your database, make it look like LCARS. For those of you who don't know, that's basically the Star Trek Next Generation computer screen. It's called LCARS. If memory serves, Library Computer Access Retrieval System. So, yes, I'm a Trekkie nerd. Diagnose table relationship view from Access top templates, maybe Northwind. Yeah, the Northwind database that comes with Access is actually one that I learned on back in 1994 when I first started learning. Now that I've been using Access for nearly 30 years, I've got some criticisms about how Northwind was originally built. I would have done things differently because It includes some things that I wouldn't use, like multi-valued fields and stuff like that, the new one. I know they are currently, a bunch of MVPs are currently redesigning Northwind, and I cannot wait to see what they end up coming out with, because I'm gonna take a look at it and go over some of it. I told them I'd make some videos on it, so maybe once they finish Northwind, then we'll take a look at it and we'll go through it. VB.net, yes, eventually. It's not high on my priority list. C++, I've never used C#, but I have done a lot of C and C++ programming back in the 80s. I'm dating myself. But yeah, I would love to do a beginner C class. Not C++, just C. Because I think C by itself, the traditional classic Kernighan-Ritchie C, is a great language, especially for beginners to learn on. SQL Server to Access connections, I've got a whole seminar on that already. Access ribbon development I get a lot of requests for this. This is definitely coming up in an Access developer class very soon. I'm going to go through it a lot. I'll probably make a tip video or two about it, but the bulk of that will be in my developer course. ChatGPT to write code. Yeah, I played around with ChatGPT. I played around with it a lot, but jury's still out on whether I'm going to rely on it to write code. More VBA definitions. I don't know what that means. QuickBooks. I don't know. I did a QuickBooks class back in like 2006. There's one QuickBooks 101 class. It's real old. It's on my website. Lots of people used to ask me about QuickBooks, but I released a class and it didn't sell very well at all. So I don't know if I'll be using QuickBooks in the future. So we'll see. Using classes in Access, VBA classes. Yeah, that's something that's on my to-do list. Honestly, in the 30-some years I've been programming, I've never really needed classes for a database. I've never needed it to build one in Access. So I'm probably going to cover it just from a theory standpoint, but with Access, I really haven't, like I said, I really haven't needed to use them. SAP connectivity, never used it. Can't help you there. Database design theory, yep, more theory is coming. More seminars are coming. VBA and Excel, yeah, I'm going to redo some of the Excel classes first. ABCD, yes, that's definitely coming. Stuff like the one you did for math calc using a text box. Okay. That was the video where I showed you how you could type in a formula in a text box like you can in a cell on Excel. That's pretty handy. I use that all the time in my own accounting database. Let's see what this one is. Okay, Kitchen Helper Developer 19 ingredients, tracking batch numbers. Yep, more of this is coming. Web automation and web scraping. The Access team is currently redesigning the web browser control that goes with Access. I believe they're making it compatible with the Edge browser. And so when that is released, I do plan on doing more web automation, because I want to get more into it myself for my own personal uses, to have my Access database control different websites that I use, including my own. And there's just stuff you really can't do with the current control. And yeah, you can use API calls, but from what I've seen, from what I've read, this new web browser control coming out is going to do a lot of stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. Forms with multiple related tables. Yeah, that's basically subforms. I don't make forms that have data sources under them that have multiple related tables in them. A lot of people do that. You'll make a query and bunch 5 different tables in it and make that the record source for your form. I don't do that. If it requires multiple data sets like that, pull out your subforms. Working with incomplete dates. I've done a ton of videos on these. Go to my website, search for dates. You'll find lots of it. I've got ones where you only type in the year and it will just assume January 1st. And I've got other ones where you type in month and day and it'll assume the current year. I mean, there's all kinds of different stuff you could do with that. R programming, never done it. Can't help you there. Ribbons, definitely coming up in a developer class. I think we talked about this. See, you guys got to find if someone else has already put it on there, you got to check that one, because then this would say 2. Temp files again. Okay, yeah, I get it, guys. You want to see temp files? It's coming. Network settings. Yeah, I'm going to be doing some Windows classes. One of my big things for this year is I want to redo my Windows and my Office beginner classes, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, that kind of stuff. Those shouldn't take me too long. They're relatively easy classes to put together. But one thing I do want to do is setting up a Windows network, because a lot of people ask me that because they want to learn how to do it for Access databases. Set up a small network in your office and then connect your Access databases together. So that is definitely going to be on the list. Deep dive into the new Access charts. Yeah, as soon as they finish them. the new modern charts, they have a lot of work to still do on those charts. I'm not happy. I still use the old charts myself because the new charts they're lacking in so many features. So the Microsoft team needs to get working on that. SharePoint, I've got a SharePoint seminar already. Go to my website and search for SharePoint. I personally don't use SharePoint for myself. I put together a seminar to show everyone else who does use SharePoint how to use it. If you've got SharePoint already for your organization, then fine. You can connect your Access database to it. But me personally, I recommend if you aren't already using SharePoint, then go with SQL Server. It's much better. Access non-VBA. Oh yeah, lots of that. I got lots of lessons coming out for that. My entire expert series is non-VBA. So there's a lot you can do with Access without using VBA. But like I always say, if you learn a little tiny bit of VBA, it goes a long way. Oh, I got to make that a saying now. Learn a little VBA, it goes a long way. And finally, how to combine 3 or more different tables to work together. That all depends on your tables. Usually when you, like I just mentioned earlier, when you've got multiple data sources like that, multiple tables, you put them together in a query, you may or may not be able to edit those. And that's just a matter of how complicated they are. I strongly recommend you use subforms. Your parent record, if it's a one-to-many relationship, that's easy, right? Many-to-many, you can still do with a subform. With a junction table, all right? You can't always just put multiple things together like that. You can play tricks. You can use unbound fields and then use code to insert stuff. Give me some examples. Post some examples in the forums on my website of what you want to see as far as using multiple tables like this, and I'll see what I can do. All right, and now we get to the fun part, the comments section. In addition to all those, we've got actual comments that people left. Number 1, create courses for Udemy. Yeah, I've looked at Udemy before. I really don't see any benefit to me setting up my courses there. They have a decent platform, but they don't really bring anything to me. I get 99% of my traffic from YouTube, and then from there people come to my website. So I don't, it would be a lot of extra work for me to also put my courses on Udemy, and then I got to pay them a commission too. So it's like, why bother? I got everything on my website and on YouTube. So unless you can tell me why I should use Udemy, then I don't know. Twin Basic is on my list. I actually was emailing the guys putting together Twin Basic, and I know Mike Wolf is involved with that as well. This it's a time thing for me. I've got so many other things on my plate first, but yes, I definitely do want to make some videos to show people how to use Twin Basic. It's pretty cool. I've only played with it a little bit myself, but I used to do a ton of Visual Basic programming back in the day. Rubber ducking, I haven't done a lot with this, so I'm not an expert in that, so we'll skip that one. Trying to build a dairy in Access. I don't understand what you mean by build a dairy. Diary, maybe? Spelled wrong? Steve, give me some more information on what you mean by that. Comparing a serial number to a serial number. If you got specific questions you're trying to get help with, this isn't like I'm looking for with this poll. I'm looking for topics, things you want to see, not answering specific questions. So if you've got specific questions on problems you're having, go to the Ask page on my website. All right, there's the address right there, 59cd.com/ask. Okay, it'll take you right here. Okay, if you're a student of mine already, a member, you can contact me right here. You can post in the forums. If you're not a student, you can post it in the visitor forum. All right, that's the best way to get help with questions you have about your database. All right, I don't have time to troubleshoot everybody. That's why if you got a question, post it. If I can make a video out of it, I will. But I get hundreds of emails a week. I can't possibly answer them all personally. Sorry, I love all of you, but there's just not enough hours in the day. If I answered all the emails, I wouldn't have time to make videos. That's why I've got to pick out the good ones and make videos about those. The ones I see over and over again. If I get the same questions people send me like 15 times, then I'll make a video out of it. But like your question, you're comparing 2 serial numbers with a field from another date and a DB lookup. But I can't. It's too specific. Got 2016. Should you upgrade? Well, that all depends. Generally, I'm of the mindset of I like to stay current. Obviously, I got to teach this stuff. The only time that I don't recommend someone upgrades is if you've got a mission critical database where, if that database has a problem, your whole business is down, then no, stick with what works. And then, maybe set up a non-important computer with the latest version and then try your database there, run it yourself for a week, and then you can upgrade the entire network. That's what I used to tell my clients to do. But I personally recommend the Microsoft 365 subscription. It constantly stays updated. Yeah, do bugs happen? Sure, but bugs can happen with any software. So no software is perfect, but at least as soon as the bug is discovered, you get an update right away. This one, more record sets. Yeah, I cover tons and tons of stuff in my records, in my developer classes about record sets. I've got multiple lessons on it. Advanced SQL. I got a whole SQL seminar series available. ABCD, there's a lot more coming, at least a couple more parts of that coming. And setting stuff to Word, I plan on doing some automation between Access and Excel and Access and Word, like creating a document from Access that's more than just an export. You actually create a document in VBA, and you can specify all kinds of cool things on it. So that is definitely coming. Automated numbering. Yep, got tons of videos on this. Go to my website and search for sequential numbering. A dating database matching shared interests. I've heard of this. I've got asked this a couple times. A few people have asked me how to do this. So I might throw something together as like one of our sample projects for this one. That's on my list. It could be more than just for dating. For example, you could sell carpets, or you could sell window treatments, and you could ask a customer, what features are you most interested in? And they can go through and select them, and then based on their selection, you can match them up with the product that has the most features in common with what they're looking for. So yeah, that's definitely something I could see being useful. Google Forms. Yeah, I use Google Forms a lot. In fact, this poll is a Google form. As far as online registration, yeah, you can do your online registration form in the Google form. It'll save to a Google Sheet. You can then take that Google Sheet, put it in Excel, and pull that into Access. I think I have videos on that. I've already covered it. So thank you guys for the compliments. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Your comment here, design better queries and reports. It just comes with experience. The best way to get good at it is just to do it. The best way to get good at driving is just to drive a lot. It's the same thing with Access. I've been doing this so long, I make it look easy, but you just got to do it. And the best way to learn and the best way to make it stick is to have fun with it. Don't just always associate it with work. I talk about this in my Beginner 1 class. Find a hobby that you have. When I first started doing this, I did, I had a baseball card collection, a comic book collection. I put those in a database. I made a D&D character generator out of Access and VB. There's all kinds of whatever hobbies you have, make a database for that. That's the best way to learn. Music database, that's a great idea. Create a brand new database, or is it easy enough to amend the current one? That's a question I can't answer without seeing your current database. I will tell you, though, that the process of learning programming in general, but Access specifically, you're going to want to scrap what you build at least 3 or 4 times before you're happy with it. Because you learn a little bit, and then you're like, oh yeah, you get all excited, you want to build something, and then you learn a little bit more, and then you're like, oh, and then you got to go back and either fix what you just did or redesign it. And it's a struggle. It really is. Especially, that's why I tell people, when they take my beginner course, don't start building the database you want to build for your company after just taking my beginner classes, because by the time you're 3 or 4 lessons into the expert series, we're going to spend a lot of time on relationships and subforms and combo boxes and really cool stuff. If you don't know that stuff when you start building your database, you're going to wish you hadn't. So take your time. If you don't have the time to go through my entire course, at least get through the beginner series and the first couple of expert classes, and then you'll start to see how databases come together more once you know more. And then, of course, once you get the programming, it's a whole different story. Then you're going to want to change it and start over all over again. I've scrapped my database at least 3 times when I first started learning how to do it. As far as monthly or annual membership, that's up to you. I can offer you a 20% discount if you sign up for the year. But yeah, bills come first. Definitely feed your family first. But I've tried to keep my silver membership nice and cheap. It's $6 a month. So, plus you get a free class with that every month through the beginner series. So I've tried. I try to do my best to keep it as affordable as possible. Is this supposed to be Bueller? Bueller. Bueller. Batch or lot numbers in a stock inventory database. I cover a lot of inventory stuff in my high-end Access developer lessons. More temp bars. Yeah, temp bars is high on the list, guys. Okay, you could stop bugging me. Did Adam send you? I know Adam sent you for the temp bars thing. The calendar seminar remake. Yes, I did mention this in 2022. I do have a calendar seminar. The purpose of that seminar was to teach you how to make a monthly calendar. Either as a form or a report, because it's not something that's easy to do in Access. So I built that. That's one of the first seminars I did, probably 2010-ish, I'm going to say. But I do want to redo it, because instead of using list boxes, I want to use subforms, because then you can add colors and conditional formatting and all kinds of cool stuff. Plus, I know a lot more than I did then. I was planning on doing it in late 2022. A lot of things happened, including a hurricane. So a lot of projects got pushed back. And now I'm in the middle of moving, so things got pushed back again. So, but yes, it is definitely on my list. One thing that I never do is I never give timelines or deadlines or estimates of when stuff's going to be finished. I'm horrible at it. I work on what I can work on when I can work on it, and you know, my goal is to release a video every business day. That's what I'm trying to do. I've been pretty good at it. I've been pretty good for the past year. I've released a video almost every business day, so that's my goal. And so sometimes the larger projects can take a little longer to get out there, but they're coming. Don't worry about it. Form events. Yeah, I've covered these in detail in my developer classes. There's a whole bunch of different events, what the timing is when they go off. So yeah, look through my developer series for more on that. You know, the tech help and the fast tips videos, they're little bits and pieces. They're nuggets here and there. But if you want a more comprehensive lesson, go through the developer series, of course. The format of the association progression. Yeah, that's good. I'm going to do another one of these, if hopefully more. One thing, there's a big twist coming in the association database that I haven't gotten to yet. We're going to be making a major design change to it. I've been talking about it in the forums with a couple of members. So, and that's something that happens when you build a database. Sometimes you come to a point where you need to make a major design change, and so you'll see how that goes. AI, yeah, it's coming. I know. Better start learning it. Yeah, okay. Scheduling database. Yeah, I've gotten a couple of requests for something like that, so I'm sure something like that will come along soon. I'm not sure what this means. VBA like do com me. I'm not sure what that is. Sorry. Sports card collection. Yeah, I built one of these when I was like 22. Yeah, that's something I'll put that on the list. That'd be fun to do. I don't have any cards anymore. They were all lost in a basement flood, along with a lot of my very expensive comic books. Yes, they were inside of sealed plastic too, but no, it was a complete flood and everything was submerged and moldy and nasty and bleh. So I don't know how many thousands of dollars I lost, which at the time was a ton of money for me too. Yeah, SAP is quite specific, and I've never used it. Sorry, so unless I learn it myself, I mean that is one of my skills, is learning something and being able to turn around and teach it relatively quickly. I taught a Photoshop class before I even used Photoshop, going back to the 90s. But yeah, but yeah, I don't know about that. If I haven't done it at this point, chances are it's probably not going to get done. So I'll look into it if enough people want to see it. Looking forward to another year. Yeah, me too. Yeah, Outlook automation from Access is coming as well. Like I said, I'm going to be doing some automation classes in my developer series, automating Word, Excel, and Outlook too. I can't talk today. Many relationships. Yeah, I've got more videos on these coming out. I cover a lot of examples in my regular course. The yes/no checkboxes. Yeah, when I talk about that, a lot of people will put like, like on the product form, is hardware, is service, whatever. They'll have a bunch of checkboxes, when really those could be subform items. And yeah, you just use a continuous form in the subform and do the same thing. I think I've got something on the list already for a tech help video, so we'll come back to that one. Linking a form to a table or query, again, it depends. I usually recommend linking directly to tables if you can. It's usually faster. If you need to bring in other values, then you can use a query if you want to, but again, you might not be editable. Sometimes if your query is really complicated, you lose the ability to edit the record. It all depends. It all depends. If you don't want to see numbers from a junction table, just don't bring them into the form. Right? Don't display. That's why I like forms. You can display whatever fields you want. You don't have to see all the fields. Yeah, this is definitely something coming up. Converting inventory ingredients into completed parts. A lot of people have asked me for that. I'm going to be doing that in the developer class. I do something similar where we can make bundles or packages. Like if you're selling computer systems, for example, when your inventory comes in, you got a hard drive, a monitor, a keyboard, or whatever, and then you can bundle that into a computer system labeled, alpha or whatever. And then when you sell one of those, it knows that it takes all those parts. But some people have also asked me if they can do this, if you could do like baking ingredients, eggs, milk, whatever. Okay, you take 4 gallons of milk and it goes into this product. You want to remove that from your milk inventory and add a finished product to the product inventory. I get it. That is coming. We're going to be doing that in an upcoming developer class. I don't know what I'm doing yet, but thanks to your videos, I know enough to be dangerous. Well, that's awesome. Keep on rocking on and get dangerous. Just remember, back up your data, and you don't have to worry about breaking anything, and get crazy. Try to break stuff. That's how you learn. The full database from start to finish. Yeah, again, they haven't been as popular as far as number of views as I'd like, but hopefully that'll pick up in the future. Seminars are my favorite, and you feel you don't do those as much anymore. Yeah, I do a seminar when I get a good topic that deserves a seminar. Seminars are very time consuming. Some of them are like 10 hours long, and you got to remember, 10 hours of video is like 40 hours of work, because you got to prepare it, you got to record it. There's always goofs. You got to go back, you got to edit it, you got to put it all together, you got to write up the web page for it. So, when I put together a 20-minute tech help video, that's about 3 or 4 hours of work. So it's not like it's just like I sit down like this. I'm just sitting down and just talking to you guys. But a lot of my videos is, there's some work and there's some editing and stuff involved. But the seminars are usually pretty time consuming. I gotta plan them ahead of time. I gotta put them together. But and I try to do it when I got a good topic to do one on. So church database. That's probably the number one reason why I started the association database, because I heard from at least a dozen people that were like, I want to build a database for my church. What do you recommend? And a church database basically is the same as most other types of membership organization databases. So that's why I picked association, because it's tried to figure out a name that was generic and could be used for all kinds of stuff, including churches or bridge clubs or homeowners associations or whatever. I'm glad you learned something new from my videos. I try to learn at least one new thing every day. If I don't learn something new, then it wasn't a good day. So work-wise. I'm building a textile database for my mother because I promised her I would build her a database when I was in grade 4, and I'm a high school student now, and I know about computers, so I'm building a database. Good for you. Your videos made me think it's possible. It definitely is possible. Just stick with it. Plan everything out like I show you in my beginner 1 class, and just keep doing it. The way you get good at it is to keep doing it. And I learned how to program when I was in I think 2nd or 3rd grade. I got my first computer and I was doing basic programming on my Tandy Radio Shack Coco. So yeah, you're never too young or old to learn how to do this stuff. Yeah, I love that you leave the bugs in and explain why. Yeah, I like to do this because, in my experience, people learn better when they see me make mistakes. Right? Learn from my mistakes. Because if I come across that mistake in a video, chances are you will too at some point. And if you've never seen it before, then you're just going to go, oh, I gotta, what's going on? Some people complain that they don't like when I leave the mistakes in the videos because it's a waste of their time. Well, sorry, bye. There's plenty of other people on YouTube teaching this stuff. Go find someone else. I think it's a good learning experience to see mistakes. That's why I leave them in my videos, and I always will leave them in my videos. And if you don't like it, well, you know where the door is. Manage data entry forms and restrictions or rules on user input. Well, you got your validation rules, which I've covered a lot about those. You've got before update events, where I got videos on those, where you can check the conditions of the data that's being entered. If you got something specific, go to the ask page and post your question there. Searching in large data sets, I've got a whole search seminar that covers all kinds of different search techniques. So I've covered a lot of this, but again, if you got specific questions, post them on the Ask page. One of these days, I wanted to see how Dataverse works with Access. Yeah, me too. I'm still dipping my toes into Dataverse, so I'm not going to chime in on it until I consider myself an expert on it. So I used SQL Server for probably 10 years before I did anything training wise related to SQL Server, because I wanted to make sure I was an expert first. Same thing with Access. I used Access from 94 until probably 2000-ish, until I decided to start teaching it. So I don't like to chime in until I know exactly what I'm talking about. So as soon as I'm more versed with Dataverse, see what I did there? And things like Power BI and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm going to be making classes on it once I consider myself an expert with those things. Lots of comments on the forums. Yes, I have my my moderators to thank for that. They do an excellent job. They're volunteers. Yep, and they keep the site running. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have the forums online, because I wouldn't be able to answer questions. I can't keep up with it myself. So I have those 6 guys to thank for it. Databases that are not normalized and how to fix them. Yeah, I've got videos on that. Start with this one. Very good one. Can't see any other way than to not have duplicate data. I would need to see an example of what you mean. So go to the Ask page, post your question there, post some screenshots. Let me see what you're talking about. I need questions to be specific, but not like overly specific. Like I need some details, but I don't need a novel. So just some people post like 80 lines of code and like, what's wrong with this? I'm not going to sit there and read 80 lines of code. I'm sorry. I just don't have the time to do it. School management is another popular topic. A lot of people want to see school management. So I've never managed a school. I mean, I had my own training center, so I had my students and I scheduled classes and I enrolled people and I invoiced them and that kind of stuff. But I've never run like a high school or a college. But I guess I could do some reading and see what I'm missing. But if you want to submit some ideas, again, go to the forums and post them there. In the beginning, there was Access. Now with you, Richard, there's Access and beyond. That's awesome. Thank you. Content is always top class. Thanks. Appreciate that. Like to be a member, but I can't afford it at the moment. I understand. The economy is rough for everybody. I get it. Again, that's why I got the silver member access, $6 a month. I try to keep it cheap. But I will always post the free videos on YouTube. So feel free to keep coming back and I'll keep making more. Yeah, and I get this a lot too. The cost for some people in different countries based on the exchange rates and stuff. I feel for you. I get it. But I just feel that if I lowered my prices for some countries, it wouldn't be fair to the people here in the United States and Canada and UK who pay full price for it. So, yeah, I don't know how to answer that question right now. So, yeah, I know it's been 18 months since I dropped ABCD Part 5. I don't want to make you cry. I'm sorry. I'm working on Part 6. It's coming. Relax. Settle down. Had some stuff happen. Went through a hurricane and a whole bunch of other stuff. And yeah, it's getting there. It's very high on my to-do list. It's the Amicron Business Contact Database, and it doesn't even have contact management yet. So yes, I feel your pain. It's coming. I want to make it right. I don't want to have it be one of those things where I just kind of sit down and just go, oh, okay, what are we gonna do today? That it's easier for me to put together the fast tips videos because it's just a quick, all right, let's just do this, and I can sit down and fire it out and done in an hour or two. But the ABCD is something that I actually take my time and plan out and build it ahead of time sometimes to make sure it's going to work properly. So this is I'm putting my signature on this one, so it's going to be quality. Dates, yeah, recurring date. Yeah, I've covered this. Dates, recurring dates fortnightly, and you must be in the UK. Only you guys use Fortnite. Yeah, I've done recurring stuff before. Where is it? Yeah, just go to my website. I typed in recur. There's a recurring bills I cover in the payables seminar, which is accounts payable. You can set up your recurring bills like every week, every 2 weeks, fortnight, whatever. Every month, every 3 months. I've got tech help videos on that. The next appointment. When's the next appointment going to be? If it's every week or every 2 weeks. Membership database, sending email on a regular basis. I've covered recurring dates a lot. Developer 41 covers it. Okay, so That's something I've definitely covered to death. If you find something that I haven't covered regarding recurring dates, let me know. Hi, Richard. Hi. See, I don't know who these... I got the comments here, but I don't know who they are. I think I can go in the spreadsheet and find out who said hi. Let me see. Hang on. Okay, I almost didn't catch it, but if you look carefully, this is actually part of the same comment here. And I didn't realize that until I opened up the spreadsheet. And I can say this is... Oh, this is Donald. Hi, Donald. Oh, look, right down here. Don, there you go. I didn't know you signed it, too. All right, I had to look in the spreadsheet. Looking forward to how you handle finances. Yep, we're going to be doing that in the database. See more of why you do something one way as opposed to another. Well, if I have two conflicting viewpoints and I can recommend why I do one thing over the other, I do. You know, I'll tell you. Record sets, good or bad? Record sets are neither good nor bad. They're like any tool, right? It can be used for good or it could be used for evil. Record sets are basically a programmatic way of looping through your records, basically. So you can say, hey, okay, I got this set of records. Customers from Florida, let's say, and I want to loop through them and do stuff. Now, I grew up programming in Visual Basic, or in Basic first and then Visual Basic, and so my brain tends to work in loops. I tend to think in code that way, for loops, while loops. So I tend to rely on record sets more than I should sometimes, because I learned database development a lot later in my programming career. So I don't think in terms of SQL. So sometimes I'll build a record set to do something that an SQL statement could do better and faster. So when I say record set's good or bad, well, it depends on what you're doing. If you're just doing something simple like setting a whole bunch of values to 0, use an SQL statement. But if it's something where you have to loop through each record and do something that's pretty complicated, take a record, look something up in another table, do this to it, check over here, then you might need a record set for it. Record sets are almost always slower than SQL statements, so I always try to think, can I do this with SQL or not? So it depends. It depends on what you're doing. All right? It's not good or bad. It's a good tool to have in your box. I wouldn't say they should be avoided if possible. I would say sometimes what I do is I'll build, if my brain works on record sets first and I build a solution with a record set, sometimes then I'll look at it after I'm done and go, can I do this with an SQL statement instead? Because it's almost always going to be faster. And if so, I'll rewrite it. But I'll at least have a working solution in the record set that I can use if possible. So I hope that tends to clear that up. User management login system. Yeah, I got one called the Security Seminar. It covers everything you want to know about user logins and logging stuff and checking things out and all that stuff. And I've done a bunch of free videos too on tracking logins and stuff. So that's all in there. Can I help you with it? I already did. Go to my website, search for user logon. ASP development using newer coding tools. I'm going to teach you ASP development using the coding tools that I use. They're not necessarily the newest, but they're good. They're solid. They work. I've been running my website on it for 20 years now. Cross tab queries. I assume you mean cross tab. I think I got a free video on that. I cover cross tab queries in more detail in my expert series. I talked about this earlier. Yeah, the Microsoft team is redoing the browser control with Edge. So I'm just as curious as you are to see what they come out with. It was supposed to be released, I think, last quarter, but it got pushed back, as always with Access. So Microsoft needs to put more effort into more effort and some money into the Access team to get this stuff done. More lookups on forms. I got many different videos on how to do searches and sorts. Just go to my site, do a search for search, and you'll find all kinds of different ways. If you got to search for an order number, put a box on your main menu, put an after update event with a DLOOKUP, and you could find whatever you want. I've covered searching lots and lots of different ways. Building a database to replace a flat single table database, good luck. That's never easy. Old dates. Yeah, I've got some videos on dealing with old dates. Where is that video? This one here, BCE dates. It's for if you've got to track dates going back to like the first Olympics, or you just have mom's birthday is December 2nd, or whatever, any kind of date format. This video pretty much shows you how to handle it. This plus my genealogy database, because Access can't go back as far as like, if your genealogy goes back to like 1620, then, I show you different tricks in that one as well. Transpose a matrix. That's a good one. Send me an example. Go to the Ask page if you can. Power Query Access Connector. Again, that's on the list coming up. SQL. Got a whole series on SQL. Vehicle maintenance does cover most of these activity type things like deadlines and stuff coming up. Creating an alert. I got videos on that too. Reminder pop-up date. For a lot of these things, if you got a question, just go to my website and search for it. Right? Reminder, alert, whatever. Chances are you'll find it. Absentee ballots when they are checked in. Yeah, this sounds like a good one. Post this on the forum and give me some specifics, and we'll see if that's something that we can help you with. Make a video out of that one. Reservation pilot billing system. Yeah, that sounds cool. Accepting payments via credit card. Yes, you can do it, but there's so many different laws and regulations depending on what state you're in and what country you're in. That's why I've kind of avoided doing that. I know what the laws are for me. I used to be in New York, so I know what the regulations are there, and now I'm in Florida. So I don't know if I want to put together lessons on it, because I use PayPal for all my credit card transactions. They've got a service called PayFlow. It's very good. It's very easy to integrate right into your Access database or your website. I've had code that I built for it 10, 15 years ago. It works great, but I don't know if it's something that I want to make a lesson on. So we'll think about that. As far as sales tax go, I cover sales tax to death in my Access expert classes. If you go to my site and search for sales tax on the Access Index, you'll find lots and lots of stuff about sales tax. I cover the multiple sales tax rates and all kinds of stuff. What else do I got on sales tax? You name it, I cover it. So yeah, sales tax over here, and the work order seminar. So I've covered a lot on sales tax. Got a reference to a 25% discount. On the other hand, as a platinum member, I got the course free because you get the free course every month. Might not be better to send the platinum members a sales email because it might irritate new members. Yeah. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I've got my database is programmed to where if you've taken a class and it sees that you don't have the next class, after like a month, then it will send you an email and say, hey, I see you don't have this class. Here's a discount. Get 25% off. That routine was written years and years ago, and it doesn't take into consideration membership discounts. So you're right. If I had a team of developers to keep up on this kind of stuff, it probably wouldn't have been a problem, but I'll definitely look into it. I appreciate that. And yeah, you're right. Stop. Way too much good stuff. Thank you. I appreciate that. Modern chart question. I'm going to stop you right there. I don't like the modern charts. I've said this in my classes. I've said this in a couple of my tech help videos. They've got problems. I don't like them. And yeah, I got a server alarm going off over there. That's okay. So I don't know. How do you put a field in front of a chart? I don't know. It's crazy. The modern charts just need so much work done to them that I'm disappointed with how poorly they work. The guys at Microsoft need to fix it, need to finish it, get it working, get it as good as, at least half as good as Excel's charts, please. I honestly do if it's a basic chart, like a simple bar chart or a line chart, yeah, I use the classic old chart control. If it's anything complicated whatsoever, I just drop the data into Excel. I don't even use Access for that. That's one of the main reasons I'm going to be doing some Access automation classes, to teach you how to drop the data into Excel and build a chart off it in code. As far as SharePoint goes, I'm probably not going to do too much more with SharePoint. I did a basic seminar to teach people how to connect to SharePoint from Access. Like I said, I don't use it myself, so I'm probably not going to go into a lot more depth with it. It's not a solution that I recommend personally. I prefer SQL Server. But if you like SharePoint, if you're using it, great. But you're probably not going to get a lot more SharePoint lessons from me. Sorry. Mobile version of Access for the iPhone. I've talked about this in a couple different videos. First of all, I don't use an iPhone. I never will. I don't like Apple products. So that's a whole different video all to itself. But go watch this video on how to use Access on a phone. And yeah, watch that. calculate the average of the best 8 of the last 20 scores for a group of people in Access. Okay. Is it all the same field? Post this on the Ask page, and maybe I'll make a video out of it. Thank you very much. More query building reports. Yeah, I don't spend a lot of time on reports. But yeah, I'm gonna do some more stuff with reports because I've been not. I usually build reports when I'm all done with the rest of the database, and building reports is very similar to building forms. It's just a couple little differences like grouping and stuff. But I don't know. This is the big one here. Why isn't my stuff working? I don't know. If I could build a troubleshooter, like I have a troubleshooter on my website. You go to this page here. It's just trouble, okay, and it takes you here. And I got a video here, 15 minutes long, and here's the list, and I've tried to put these in the order with which you should try them to go down the list. Why isn't my stuff working, right? So if you got a problem you can't figure out, error messages, whatever, try this stuff, okay? Go down the list. There's a lot of stuff in here. But if you got, if it's like your database works, but it's not working, like, okay, I don't know. I really don't know. It's one of those things where if I had a copy of the database and I could sit there and play with it, I could probably figure the problem out. But that is extremely time consuming. So I don't have the time to troubleshoot people's databases. I used to do that kind of stuff way, way back, but I don't really like doing it. And so there's really no amount of money you could pay me that I'm going to sit there all day and troubleshoot databases. I mean, there'd be a lot of zeros on that check. Let's put it that way. I don't like doing that kind of stuff. I like teaching how to do stuff properly and not fixing what's not working. If you build it properly in the first place, then you shouldn't usually run into too many of those problems. But yeah, that's where the forums come in. Post your problems there, and maybe the guys or I can figure it out. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And yeah, connecting different database or programs together. Yeah, okay. Access in Excel, definitely. Access SQL Server. I don't have a lot of experience with a lot of other database platforms like MySQL, like Oracle. I've never used Oracle, in fact. So that's about all you're going to get from me is Access SQL Server, Excel, text files. That's about it. That's all I really ever used in my life. I built my own custom database formats using binary files and BASIC, but you don't want to do that. That's a pain. So yeah, that's it. That's the results of and the comments from the January 2023 poll. Thank you everyone for filling it out. It definitely gave me a lot to think about and some things to change on my list of what I'm going to cover. Yes, temp vars are coming. Adam, relax. But I appreciate it. I'm probably not going to do a poll every month, maybe once a quarter. So possibly look for another one in, April? Until then, thanks, and I appreciate it, and keep learning, and we'll see you next time.